The Biggest Conspiracies in History Chapter 1, The Nature of Conspiracy, Understanding What Defines a Conspiracy. Throughout history, humans have been fascinated, and often frightened, by the idea that powerful groups or individuals secretly manipulate events behind the scenes. These hidden agendas, often shrouded in secrecy and deception, are what we commonly refer to as conspiracies. But what exactly makes a conspiracy different from rumors, misinformation, or simple misunderstandings? To grasp the significance of conspiracy theories and their impact on history, we must first understand what defines a genuine conspiracy. A conspiracy is typically characterized by an agreement between two or more parties to achieve some clandestine goal, often one that benefits them at the expense of others. This agreement involves secret planning and covert actions designed specifically to conceal their involvement from the public eye. Unlike ordinary disagreements or disagreements in public policy openly debated in governments and organizations, conspiracies operate in shadowy silence, with efforts made to hide their true nature. One key feature that sets conspiracies apart is secrecy. Those involved go to great lengths to keep their plans hidden from outsiders, including journalists, watchdog organizations, whistleblowers, and even governmental oversight bodies. This clandestine aspect creates an aura of suspicion around many major historical events because it suggests that what appears on the surface might only be part of a larger hidden story. Another important aspect is motivation. Conspirators often seek power, control over resources, influence over society's narratives, and sometimes simply self-preservation. Whether it's political power through elections or policy changes, economic advantage via market manipulation, or social control through propaganda, they aim to shape outcomes without revealing their true intentions. Understanding this distinction helps us differentiate between legitimate investigations into corruption or wrongdoing, which are open and transparent, and covert plots designed deliberately to deceive. Not every suspicious event is evidence of a conspiracy. Many are misinterpretations or coincidences. But when patterns emerge, when multiple pieces fit together like parts of an intricate puzzle, the possibility that a genuine conspiracy exists becomes more compelling. History provides ample examples where conspiracies have had profound consequences on world affairs, sometimes changing the course of nations entirely. Consider the Watergate scandal in the 1970s. Members within President Nixon's administration engaged in secret activities aimed at spying on political opponents and covering up misdeeds. Once uncovered through investigative journalism and congressional hearings, these clandestine actions eroded public trust in government institutions dramatically. Similarly, during World War II, secret negotiations such as those behind the development of nuclear weapons involved top-secret projects like the Manhattan Project. A government initiative kept under wraps for years before revealing its scope after successful bomb tests. Such projects demonstrate how governments have long operated covertly when national security was at stake. Even earlier episodes reveal how conspiratorial thinking has shaped history: royal marriages arranged behind closed doors influencing alliances, clandestine societies plotting reforms, or revolutions. In secret chambers, spies infiltrating enemy ranks with hidden agendas, all serve as testament to how common it has been for groups seeking advantage to operate outside public knowledge. It's essential here to recognize why conspiracies are so prevalent across ages and cultures. They fulfill human tendencies toward pattern recognition and explanation-seeking behavior when faced with complex events we don't fully understand. When tragedies strike unexpectedly or political upheavals occur suddenly, the human mind naturally seeks explanations beyond surface appearances. Was there sabotage? Corruption? Hidden motives? However, and this point cannot be overstated, it's equally vital not to jump prematurely into believing every whisper of intrigue is fact. The line between healthy skepticism and unwarranted paranoia can be thin indeed. Many rumors proliferate because they're sensational. Some are deliberately fabricated as disinformation campaigns meant to mislead opponents or distract from real issues. Distinguishing between credible evidence and speculation requires critical thinking skills. Analyzing sources carefully before accepting claims at face value is necessary if one hopes to uncover genuine truths amid layers of deception. This pursuit becomes more complicated today because technological advances have transformed how conspiracies spread, and how difficult it can be today for truth seekers alike to discern fact from fiction within an ocean of digital information streams filled with both accurate data and deliberate falsehoods. Understanding what constitutes a true conspiracy lays foundational groundwork for examining specific historical episodes later in this book. The notorious cases where secrets were kept so effectively they reshaped entire nations once uncovered, or remained hidden forever beneath layers of lies and cover-ups. Recognizing these dynamics helps us appreciate why certain events continue echoing through history while others fade into obscurity, a crucial step toward understanding the biggest conspiracies in history. As we move forward into detailed explorations, examining notorious cases like JFK's assassination or Watergate, we will see firsthand how these secret plots emerged from shadows into light, how they challenged perceptions, and why uncovering them remains vital for transparency today. Chapter 2: Notorious Conspiracies That Changed History. Throughout history, certain conspiracies have captured the collective consciousness, shaping societies, altering political landscapes, and challenging the very trust we place in our institutions. These are not just whispers in dark corners or fleeting rumors, they are clandestine operations that, once uncovered, have had profound and lasting impacts on the course of human events. In this chapter, we will explore some of the most notorious conspiracies that changed history, delving into their details, how they were uncovered, and why they still resonate today. One of the earliest examples often cited is the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963. The event was shocking, a young charismatic leader shot down in broad daylight while riding through Dallas. The official story blamed a lone gunman, Lee Harvey Oswald. However, doubts quickly surfaced. Many believed there was more to the story, cover-ups involving government agencies or foreign entities seeking to influence U.S. politics from behind the scenes. Over time, numerous investigations and countless conspiracy theories emerged around JFK's death. The Warren Commission concluded that Oswald acted alone, yet critics argued that evidence was suppressed or overlooked. Subsequent inquiries suggested possibilities ranging from organized crime involvement to CIA complicity or even a conspiracy within government itself to eliminate a president seen as too independent or disruptive. Why does such an event inspire suspicion? Because it involved powerful figures and complex motives, a recipe for secrecy. And because its aftermath reshaped public perception about transparency in government dealings with covert forces operating behind closed doors. Similarly influential is the Watergate scandal of the early 1970s, a political conspiracy that ultimately led to President Richard Nixon's resignation. It began with a break-in at Democratic National Committee headquarters located in Watergate Complex apartments in Washington, D.C., but soon unraveled as investigators uncovered a web of deception extending deep into Nixon's administration. The cover-up involved false statements by officials, misuse of intelligence agencies like the FBI and CIA to obstruct justice, and efforts to silence whistleblowers. When investigative journalism, most famously by Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein of The Washington Post, began peeling back these layers of secrecy, it became clear that high-level officials had engaged in criminal activity aimed at maintaining political power at any cost. This scandal not only toppled Nixon but also profoundly altered Americans' view of their government's integrity, and established new standards for accountability through investigative journalism and congressional oversight. Moving beyond individual scandals into broader themes reveals how secret organizations have played roles behind many major historical events, even if their existence is shrouded in myth or speculation. One example often discussed is secret societies like the Illuminati or Freemasons purportedly influencing world affairs from shadows since centuries ago. While definitive proof remains elusive regarding these groups' current influence on global politics, many historians consider them more symbolic than real. The belief persists among conspiracy theorists that unseen hands manipulate economies or steer nations toward certain agendas for their own benefit. An illustrative case is allegations linking these secret groups to events like wars or economic crises. Some claim that powerful elites use such organizations as tools for control rather than spontaneous societal developments alone driving history forward. Another famous example involves covert operations undertaken by governments during wartime, or even peacetime, that remain hidden until declassified decades later. Consider Operation Northwoods, a proposed false flag operation conceived by U.S. military leaders during Cold War tensions with Cuba intended to justify military intervention against Fidel Castro's regime. Though never executed publicly, and officially rejected, documents revealing this plan surfaced years later through declassified archives showing how far some actors were willing to go beneath layers of secrecy under national security pretenses. A stark reminder that governments may sometimes conceal dangerous plans designed not just for national security but also for political gains. Similarly controversial are allegations surrounding covert CIA projects such as MK-Ultra The program aimed at mind control experiments using drugs like LSD on unwitting subjects during the Cold War era. To develop techniques potentially useful for espionage or manipulation purposes today still fuel debate over transparency and ethics in clandestine operations. In each case, the assassinations, scandals, secret societies, covert operations. The common thread lies within mechanisms designed specifically to keep truths hidden from public view while powerful interests pursue agendas few understand fully until long after facts emerge from archives or whistleblowers step forward with disclosures. But uncovering these truths often requires meticulous research amid layers of misinformation cultivated intentionally over time. For instance, disinformation campaigns intended to confuse investigators. Selective leaks, classified documents kept under tight wraps even decades after events occurred, all tools used by those wishing, or needing, to maintain secrecy over what really happened beneath official narratives presented publicly. As we examine these notorious conspiracies shaping history, from JFK's assassination to Watergate, they serve as cautionary tales illustrating both our vulnerabilities and our resilience. In confronting hidden truths lurking behind official stories meant solely for public consumption at face value, they remind us why skepticism must be balanced with critical thinking when evaluating claims about clandestine plots. Not every shadowy rumor holds truth. But neither should we dismiss all suspicions outright, because understanding where deception ends and reality begins can be vital, not just historically but ethically, for holding those responsible accountable today, and safeguarding future generations against manipulations rooted deep within unseen networks operating below society's radar. Levels. In exploring these notorious conspiracies, these pivotal moments where secrets unraveled, we gain insight into how power operates secretly behind curtains pulled tight across centuries, yet sometimes slipping open enough so history can finally reveal what has been concealed all along. Truth waiting patiently beneath layers of deception until someone dares look deeper. Chapter 3: Hidden Powers Behind Major Events. Throughout history, the most significant moments, wars, revolutions, economic upheavals, have often been attributed to the actions of governments, leaders, and sometimes even random chance. But beneath these visible narratives lie whispers of unseen forces, shadowy groups, and individuals purported to manipulate events from behind the scenes. This chapter explores the claims about these secret puppeteers, the so-called hidden powers, that are believed to influence world affairs far beyond what most people realize. The idea that powerful organizations or individuals operate covertly is not new. In fact, many of the most enduring conspiracy theories revolve around entities like the Illuminati, secret societies with alleged plans for global domination, clandestine government agencies working outside public oversight, or wealthy elites wielding control over economies and political systems. While skepticism remains necessary when confronting such claims, since evidence can be ambiguous or manipulated, the persistent nature of these theories suggests that humans are naturally drawn to seek explanations beyond surface appearances. One of the earliest and most infamous examples is the alleged influence of the Illuminati, a secret society founded in Bavaria in 1776. Originally created as a progressive Enlightenment organization promoting reason and secularism, conspiracy theorists claim that this group survived underground after its suppression by authorities. According to various accounts, they have infiltrated governments, financial institutions, media outlets, and even entertainment industries, to shape global events according to their hidden agenda for establishing a new world order. Skeptics dismiss many such claims as fanciful. However, some researchers note that certain historical figures associated with elite networks did have ties to secret societies or exclusive clubs which fostered influential connections. Similarly intriguing are allegations regarding powerful families like the Rothschilds or Rockefellers, whose wealth and influence appear intertwined with major historical developments. Critics argue that these families have used their financial power not merely for personal gain but as tools for broader manipulation, funding wars, controlling markets, influencing policy decisions, all in pursuit of an overarching plan for dominance. While tangible proof linking them directly to specific conspiracies remains elusive, or at least disputed, their prominence in history fuels ongoing speculation about hidden control. Beyond individual families or societies lies a broader concern: covert agencies tasked with shaping perceptions and controlling information flows. Agencies like the CIA or MI6 have long been associated with clandestine operations, including espionage activities during wartime and efforts at regime change abroad, that often remain classified for decades. Declassified documents reveal instances where governments engaged in manipulative tactics, disinformation campaigns aimed at swaying public opinion or destabilizing foreign regimes, raising questions about how much influence these agencies wield behind closed doors. Some theorists extend this suspicion further by suggesting that certain international organizations, such as the Bilderberg Group or World Economic Forum, serve as forums where elite decision-makers meet secretly to coordinate policies away from public scrutiny. These gatherings often feature influential politicians, business magnates, and sometimes members from intelligence communities, all supposedly plotting strategies that impact global economics and geopolitics without transparency. It's essential here to address a critical point. Distinguishing credible evidence from baseless speculation is vital when considering claims about hidden powers. Not every whisper about shadowy plots holds water. Some stories arise from misunderstandings or deliberate disinformation meant to mislead or distract us from real issues. For example, while it's true that elite groups meet privately on occasion, a common practice among powerful organizations, it doesn't necessarily mean they're orchestrating world crises according to sinister plans. Yet history offers countless examples where secrecy has played a role in shaping major events. During World War II, diplomatic negotiations involving high-level officials were often conducted behind closed doors, sometimes leading to accusations that critical decisions were made without public knowledge. The Watergate scandal uncovered widespread abuse of power within U.S., revealing how political operatives attempted covertly to manipulate electoral processes. The assassination of John F. Kennedy continues fueling theories involving multiple entities, from organized crime syndicates to rogue government elements, all allegedly working together towards political ends. Examining these cases reveals patterns. Secrecy tends not only because it's easier but also because those involved want control over information flow, to prevent opposition from gaining access or understanding their motives fully. However compelling these narratives may seem, even seductive, they must be approached critically. What concrete evidence exists? Are sources verifiable? Do alternative explanations fit better? When analyzing claims about shadowy puppet masters pulling strings behind history's grandest moments, from wars and assassinations to economic collapses, it's crucial not only to acknowledge credible hints but also avoid falling into paranoia-fueled conclusions unsupported by facts. In essence, while unmasking genuine influences operating discreetly is important, and sometimes possible, the line between uncovering truth and indulging in sensationalism can be thin indeed. This chapter underscores an important aspect woven throughout the biggest conspiracies in history. Understanding who might be pulling strings helps us grasp how power operates beneath societal facades, and why transparency remains essential if we wish for an informed citizenry capable of resisting manipulation by unseen forces lurking just out of sight. Chapter 4. Cover UPS and Deceptions, Maintaining Secrecy Over Time. Throughout history, the most powerful organizations, governments, corporations, clandestine groups, have understood that control over information is a vital tool. When truth threatens to surface or inconvenient facts emerge, these entities often resort to cover-ups and deception strategies designed to protect their reputation, preserve power, or hide their involvement in scandals. This chapter explores how such cover-ups are executed, the techniques used to sustain secrecy over decades or even centuries, and some notable examples that reveal the extent to which truth can be manipulated or concealed. One of the fundamental methods employed in maintaining secrecy is misinformation campaigns. Governments and organizations craft narratives that distort reality or distract from uncomfortable truths. These campaigns often involve spreading false information through media outlets, whether newspapers, television broadcasts, or now social media platforms, to shape public perception. For instance, during wartime conflicts like World War II or more recent military interventions, governments have disseminated propaganda designed to influence public opinion while suppressing dissenting voices. Classified documents also play a crucial role in cover-ups. Governments develop secret archives, sometimes labeled top secret, that contain sensitive information which if made public could undermine national security or expose unethical practices. In many cases, access is restricted for decades. Only through declassification processes years later do these documents become available for scrutiny. The revelation of such files often confirms suspicions about past deceptions, but by then much damage has been done. Media manipulation complements these techniques by controlling what stories are told and what remains hidden from view. Journalists may be intimidated into silence through legal threats or economic pressure. News outlets can be co-opted by political interests eager to shape narratives favorable to those in power. The infamous case of Watergate illustrates this phenomenon vividly. Initial reports uncovered corruption at the highest levels of government, but subsequent efforts were made internally within political circles and through strategic leaks aimed at diverting attention from deeper conspiracies. Another tactic involves creating plausible deniability, a way for those involved in wrongdoing to deny any knowledge of illicit activities when questioned publicly. This is achieved through compartmentalization. Different parts of an organization have only partial knowledge of operations, so no single individual can fully grasp the scope of a covert plan. When scandal erupts later on, as with Iran-Contra, it becomes easier for officials to deny involvement entirely because they claim ignorance. Cover-ups are not limited solely to government actions. Corporate entities frequently engage in similar practices when faced with crises such as environmental disasters, product scandals, or financial frauds. For example, some companies have systematically suppressed evidence linking their products to health hazards while promoting misleading advertising campaigns until enough pressure forces disclosure, or whistleblowers expose their secrets. Many cover-up efforts are also sustained through legal means, such as non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, gag orders issued by courts, designed specifically to prevent individuals from speaking out about sensitive issues under threat of legal repercussions. These tools effectively silence potential witnesses and keep damaging truths hidden from the public eye. The challenge with uncovering these cover-ups lies partly in how well organized they can be, and partly in human nature's tendency toward complacency or trust in authority figures until irrefutable evidence surfaces after years of concealment. It's common for suppressed information, the truth behind certain assassinations or covert operations, to remain hidden for decades before finally being revealed due to leaks, investigative journalism breakthroughs, declassified files, or whistleblowers risking everything. A prominent example illustrating this process is the case of Jeffrey Epstein's death inside his jail cell in 2019. Officially ruled a suicide after investigation by authorities closely aligned with powerful interests who had reasons both personal and political not wanting certain truths exposed about Epstein's connections with influential figures worldwide, a conspiracy that remains controversial even today because key evidence was withheld initially and investigations were marred by procedural anomalies. Similarly compelling is the story surrounding Area 51, a classified military site long rumored and denied by officials but suspected by many conspiracy enthusiasts as housing extraterrestrial technology, and its eventual acknowledgement decades later after official declassification allowed some details into public consciousness. What all these examples demonstrate is that cover-ups often depend on layers upon layers of deception sustained over time. A difficult web for investigators and skeptics alike to unravel without access to privileged information nor sufficient resources required for deep digging into official records. However challenging it may be initially daunting, history shows us time and again that no secret remains permanently sealed forever, not entirely anyway. With persistent effort, through investigative journalism teams breaking stories despite pressures, whistleblowers risking everything, historians meticulously analyzing documents, the truth eventually emerges from behind veils crafted long ago. Understanding how governments and organizations employ cover-ups illuminates an essential aspect outlined throughout the biggest conspiracies in history. It reveals not just the methods used but also underscores why skepticism combined with diligent inquiry remains vital when confronting claims about hidden agendas lurking behind official narratives today, and why vigilance against deception must endure if we hope genuinely uncover what lies beneath layers of secrecy built up over generations. In contemplating this dimension of conspiracy, the artful maintenance of concealment, we recognize a recurring pattern across history. Those who wield power often prefer secrets kept tightly shut away rather than exposed publicly because transparency threatens their influence unless actively challenged. This awareness equips us better as we navigate present-day claims and historical mysteries alike, from covert operations during Cold War tensions all the way back sometimes centuries, to understand that reality itself might sometimes be stranger than fiction when unmasked beyond intentional obfuscation. Chapter 5, Modern Conspiracies in a Digital Age. Chapter 5, Modern Conspiracies in a Digital Age. In today's interconnected world, the landscape of conspiracy theories has transformed dramatically. No longer confined to whispered rumors in shadowy rooms, modern conspiracies spread rapidly across social media, news outlets, and online forums. This digital age has created both unprecedented opportunities for information dissemination and new challenges for discerning truth from fiction. As part of our exploration in the biggest conspiracies in history, understanding how technology influences the proliferation of conspiracy theories is essential to grasping their impact on society today. The advent of the Internet revolutionized communication. Information that once took weeks or months to circulate can now be shared instantly worldwide. While this accelerates knowledge sharing and democratizes access to information, it also enables misinformation to spread just as quickly, sometimes faster, than verified facts. Social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube have become fertile ground for conspiracy theories to flourish. Algorithms designed to maximize engagement often favor sensational content over balanced reporting. As a result, false narratives can gain traction rapidly before authorities or fact-checkers can intervene. Take the example of government surveillance programs like the NSA's PRISM operation revealed by Edward Snowden in 2013. The disclosures sparked a wave of suspicion about government overreach and privacy violations worldwide. While some skepticism was grounded in credible evidence, Snowden's revelations were real. The subsequent proliferation of related conspiracy theories expanded beyond verified facts into unsubstantiated claims about mass mind control or secret global monitoring networks that supposedly control every aspect of our lives. Similarly, corporate manipulation campaigns have gained prominence through digital channels. Some conspiracy theorists allege that large corporations manipulate public opinion or suppress negative information about their products or practices through covert advertising tactics hidden behind complex algorithms or fake accounts, bots. These claims are often fueled by real examples of marketing influence, but sometimes evolve into elaborate stories suggesting nefarious intent at an international scale. One notable phenomenon is what experts call information warfare. Governments and organizations are accused, sometimes with good reason, of using disinformation campaigns intentionally designed to sway public opinion during elections or social upheavals. The 2016 U.S. presidential election saw widespread speculation that foreign entities used social media bots and fake accounts to influence voters' perceptions through targeted misinformation campaigns aimed at sowing discord. While these instances highlight genuine vulnerabilities within digital ecosystems, they also illustrate how easily people can be misled when critical thinking is absent or when emotional responses override rational analysis. It is vital not only to recognize credible threats but also to understand how falsehoods are crafted and disseminated so we can better defend ourselves against them. Moreover, modern conspiracies thrive partly because traditional sources such as newspapers or television news are not always perceived as trustworthy anymore. Many individuals turn instead toward alternative online communities where skepticism runs unchecked, that echo chambers where confirmation bias reigns supreme, and where ideas are reinforced without scrutiny. The role of fake news has become central here. Fabricated stories designed solely for clicks generate revenue while spreading misleading narratives fast enough to outpace corrections from reputable sources. This creates a volatile environment where fact becomes muddled with fiction, a phenomenon exacerbated by algorithms prioritizing engagement metrics over accuracy. But why do these conspiracies resonate so deeply? At their core lies human psychology. Our innate desire for certainty amid chaos drives us towards simpler explanations, even if those explanations are false. That makes sense out of complex events we cannot fully comprehend alone. Yet awareness alone isn't enough. Developing critical thinking skills becomes crucial in this environment filled with competing messages vying for our attention. And trustworthiness is often hard-won online due to anonymity and lack of accountability among many content creators. Efforts exist globally both within governments and private organizations aiming at combating misinformation. Fact-checking websites like Snopes or PolitiFact work tirelessly alongside social media platforms trying to flag false content before it goes viral. However, these measures face resistance from users who distrust mainstream sources or who believe they're being silenced deliberately, as part of larger narratives about censorship and control promoted by some conspiracy factions themselves. Furthermore, technological advancements continue shaping this landscape. For example, deepfake videos enable the creation of highly realistic but entirely fabricated footage. AI-generated texts produce convincing fake articles on demand. Data analytics allow micro-targeted messaging tailored specifically toward individual beliefs or fears. These tools make it increasingly difficult even for experts themselves to identify what is genuine versus fabricated. A challenge that underscores why understanding modern conspiracies requires not only skepticism but also an educated approach rooted in media literacy. Despite these challenges, while technology accelerates how quickly conspiratorial ideas remain resilient because they fulfill psychological needs. It also offers opportunities for education and resistance, offering a sense of belonging within dedicated communities, recognizing patterns common across different sections that they possess hidden knowledge others lack, via leaked giving voice against perceived depression by powerful campaigns exploiting algorithmic biases, is vital as we navigate this complex web woven by digital innovation. The key takeaway from examining modern conspiracies within the biggest conspiracies in history is clear: understanding contemporary methods used both intentionally by malicious actors and unintentionally through human cognitive biases enhances our ability not only to detect falsehoods but also safeguard democratic processes against insidious manipulation efforts facilitated by cutting-edge technology itself. That double-edged sword shaping our perception reality today. Chapter 6. The fine line between skepticism and belief. Throughout history, humans have demonstrated an innate curiosity about the world around them. This curiosity often leads us to question authority, seek hidden truths, and explore possibilities beyond what is immediately visible. However, this natural tendency to look beyond the surface can sometimes blur the lines between healthy skepticism and unwarranted suspicion. In the biggest conspiracies in history, understanding this delicate balance is essential, not only for discerning genuine conspiracies from mere rumors but also for maintaining a rational perspective amidst a sea of misinformation. Humans are pattern seekers. We instinctively look for explanations when faced with complex or confusing events. When something doesn't add up or when official accounts seem incomplete, our minds fill in gaps, sometimes with logical reasoning, but at other times with suspicion or paranoia. This trait has been both a tool for uncovering truth and a trap that leads us into conspiracy theories that lack factual basis. The challenge lies in recognizing when skepticism becomes healthy inquiry and when it degenerates into distrust that fuels unfounded conspiratorial beliefs. A critical component of navigating this terrain is developing strong critical thinking skills. Critical thinking involves questioning sources of information, analyzing evidence objectively, and considering alternative explanations before jumping to conclusions. It requires asking questions like, what evidence supports this claim? Are there credible sources backing it? Could there be biases influencing the information? Is there a motive to deceive? By applying these principles consistently, individuals can better differentiate between legitimate concerns deserving investigation and sensationalized stories designed to manipulate emotions. Yet, even skeptics must acknowledge that not everything is as it appears on the surface. History provides numerous examples where governments or powerful groups deliberately concealed truths from the public, such as secret military experiments or covert political operations, that were uncovered only years later through diligent investigation or declassified documents. These instances remind us that genuine conspiracy does exist. Therefore, skepticism should not automatically dismiss all claims but rather evaluate each one on its merits. One common pitfall in engaging with conspiracy theories is falling prey to cognitive biases, systematic errors in thinking that influence our judgments and decisions. Confirmation bias leads people to favor information confirming their pre-existing beliefs while ignoring evidence to the contrary. For example, someone convinced that their government is involved in widespread surveillance might dismiss any official assurances as part of cover-ups, even if those assurances are truthful, simply because they align with their suspicions. Another bias relevant here is proportionality bias, the tendency to see significant events as resulting from equally significant causes. When tragedy strikes or an event seems inexplicable, some may assume elaborate plots rather than simpler explanations like coincidence or human error. Recognizing these biases helps prevent jumping prematurely into conspiracy theories without sufficient evidence. Fear also plays a pivotal role in shaping belief systems related to conspiracies. During times of crisis, wars, economic downturns, pandemics, people often seek explanations that provide certainty amid chaos, even if those explanations involve sinister plots orchestrated by unseen forces. While some conspiracies have roots in real manipulations by powerful entities during such periods, like wartime propaganda campaigns, others thrive solely on fearmongering without factual basis. It's important not only to question external sources but also ourselves, to reflect on why we believe what we do and whether our emotions might be clouding our judgment. Emotional reactions such as anger towards perceived injustice can make us more receptive to conspiratorial narratives that validate our feelings of mistrust or victimization. Balancing skepticism involves cultivating an attitude of intellectual humility, the willingness to accept uncertainty and admit when we do not have enough information yet, and maintaining openness-mindedness so we remain receptive to new evidence as it emerges over time. This approach prevents dogmatism, the rigid adherence to beliefs regardless of contrary facts, which often underpins harmful conspiracy thinking. Furthermore, engaging with credible experts who employ rigorous scientific methods provides another safeguard against unwarranted suspicion rooted in misinformation or misinterpretation of data. Learning how scientific consensus forms through peer review processes helps us understand why certain claims are widely accepted while others remain speculative until substantial proof exists. In practical terms, navigating the fine line between skepticism and belief requires patience, a recognition that uncovering truth can take time, and discipline. To avoid jumping onto sensationalist narratives prematurely just because they evoke strong emotions or fit existing fears. Ultimately, understanding this balance enriches our comprehension within the biggest conspiracies in history. Recognizing how easily suspicion can morph into paranoia allows us better discernment when examining alleged cover-ups or clandestine plots documented throughout history, and equally important, is knowing when genuine threats warrant serious investigation versus dismissing all claims outright out of distrust. In conclusion, human curiosity about secrets hidden behind closed doors is natural. It fuels investigations into real conspiracies but also opens doors for falsehoods to flourish if we're not careful skeptics ourselves, a paradox at the heart of understanding conspiracy theory culture today. To walk this tightrope successfully demands critical engagement combined with humility, a mindset open enough to accept uncertainty yet cautious enough not to fall prey indiscriminately believing every whisper behind closed doors. By honing these skills within ourselves and applying them diligently, we better position ourselves as informed citizens capable of peeling back layers of deception without succumbing entirely either toward naive credulity nor destructive cynicism. This balanced approach forms the foundation for truly understanding the biggest conspiracies in history, not just accepting truth blindly nor dismissing every shadowy claim outright, but continuously questioning everything responsibly while seeking clarity amid complexity. That's the path forward, thoughtful skepticism guiding us toward genuine insight rather than falling into traps set by fear, or by those who wish us blindfolded before secrets they prefer kept hidden forever. Asterisk. Chapter 7, Uncovering Truths, Lessons from History's Biggest Conspiracies. Throughout history, humanity has been captivated by secrets, hidden plots, covert agendas, and the elusive truth behind powerful events. The shadows cast by conspiracies have shaped nations, toppled governments, and altered the course of history itself. As we reach the final chapter of the biggest conspiracies in history, it is vital to reflect on what these stories teach us about transparency, power, and our own ability to discern fact from fiction. Understanding past conspiracies is more than an academic exercise, it's a crucial tool for navigating today's complex world. When we study how secrets were kept or uncovered in antiquity and recent history alike, we gain insight into human nature and institutional behavior. It reveals patterns, recurrent themes of deception and revelation that help us recognize similar tactics used today. One of the most enduring lessons comes from the Watergate scandal. The break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters in 1972 was initially dismissed as a routine burglary. But investigative journalism uncovered a web of lies spun by high-level officials within President Nixon's administration. The cover-up failed, leading to Nixon's resignation, the first time a U.S. president left office voluntarily due to scandal. This event underscored that even those closest to power are vulnerable when their actions are exposed through diligent inquiry. Similarly, the assassination of John F. Kennedy remains one of the most debated conspiracies in modern history. Officially attributed to Lee Harvey Oswald acting alone, countless alternative theories suggest involvement by shadowy groups such as organized crime or foreign governments aiming to influence American politics subtly or covertly quell dissent during turbulent times. Over decades, declassified documents have offered glimpses into government surveillance and intelligence operations that hint at deeper layers beneath official narratives, reminding us that truth often resides beneath multiple veils. These examples teach us that transparency can be fragile but resilient when challenged by persistent inquiry. Whistleblowers have played pivotal roles here, individuals risking everything to reveal uncomfortable truths about their institutions or governments they serve. Their courage exemplifies one key lesson: vigilance is essential for safeguarding democracy. Yet not all revelations come easily. Some conspiracies remain concealed for generations due to sophisticated cover-ups or misinformation campaigns designed precisely for obfuscation. The Manhattan Project's secrecy during World War II demonstrates this well. It was only decades later that many details emerged through declassified documents revealing how close humanity came to using nuclear weapons on an unprecedented scale. This brings us to another vital lesson: not every secret is malicious. Some are necessary for national security or diplomatic reasons at the time they are kept hidden. Distinguishing between legitimate confidentiality and destructive concealment requires critical judgment, a skill increasingly important in our digital age where information spreads rapidly but not always accurately. A recurring theme across these episodes is how technology has transformed our ability, or difficulty, in uncovering truths. Today's digital landscape accelerates leaks but also amplifies misinformation campaigns designed deliberately to mislead us or sow discord within society. Take recent allegations surrounding government surveillance programs like PRISM, initially revealed by whistleblower Edward Snowden, which unveiled vast spying operations targeting ordinary citizens worldwide under claims of national security needs. While some viewed these revelations as necessary oversight measures exposing overreach, others saw them as threats to privacy rights rooted in conspiracy theories about global control mechanisms beyond public scrutiny. This paradox highlights an ongoing challenge: navigating between healthy skepticism rooted in evidence-based reasoning versus paranoia fueled by unfounded fears spread through social media echo chambers. So how do we responsibly approach such complex issues? The key lies in critical thinking. Question everything but accept nothing blindly until verified through credible sources and thorough investigation. History also teaches patience. Uncovering truths often takes years if not decades due to bureaucratic inertia or deliberate stonewalling tactics employed by those wishing concealment at any cost. For example, many documents regarding CIA activities during covert operations remained classified until they were gradually declassified over time. Sometimes only after significant public pressure or legal action made disclosure inevitable. These lessons underscore that accountability relies on persistence. Unwavering dedication from journalists, researchers, whistleblowers, and citizens who demand answers is fundamental for exposing hidden realities. Furthermore, understanding past conspiracies fosters empathy, not just for victims caught unaware, and awareness of systemic vulnerabilities exploited repeatedly throughout history. It reminds us that even powerful entities can be held accountable when enough evidence accumulates, a beacon of hope amid cynicism about entrenched corruption or secrecy structures. However, and this point cannot be overstated, it remains crucial not to fall into paranoia or unwarranted suspicion simply because something appears secretive. Not every shadow conceals malevolence. Some secrets protect innocent lives under delicate circumstances. The goal should always be discerning genuine threats from baseless fears, a balance achieved through education and rational inquiry rather than hysteria. As we conclude this exploration into history's biggest conspiracies, it becomes clear that knowledge is both our shield and sword. By studying how secrets were kept, and ultimately uncovered, we learn resilience against deception while maintaining vigilance against potential abuses today. Transparency isn't merely an ideal. It's a collective responsibility rooted in understanding our shared past with honesty and courage. In embracing these lessons from history's greatest cover-ups and revelations alike, the very essence captured within the biggest conspiracies in history, we empower ourselves with tools necessary for building more open societies where truth can emerge triumphant over concealment forevermore.